We had enough time to grab a cup of coffee. Why? Because we've now dragged in eNCA duty editor Peter Motloutsi to unpack the morning papers. And I know you're going to be working furiously to bring us the latest on the SIU report, going to be made public. This is what we've all been waiting for. I mean, you gave us just a small tree, really, is what you've given us here of the report. So once that gets unpacked, we're going to get a better sense of what's in this SIU report. But we'll leave that for later, because can we just talk about the elections coming up as well? And we know how bad the violence is in KZN. It always seems to be around election time. But now, the Star newspaper is what we have first, Peter. KZN style hits now rocking Gauteng is the Star's top story.
Well, that's what the police minister is saying. It's like people are adopting what's happening in KZN and bringing it over to Gauteng. And is right. You see around election time, there's fights about candidates. There's protests every day. People say, no, you have Tumelo instead of Gareth as my preferred person. You have people being shot 20 times, like this councillor in Tshwane. It's shocking. But then you have to go back and look at what the police have done in terms of investigating political killings. How many people have been arrested since they started rocking up in KZN? I mean, you'll remember how Cindy Somagaka was killed. So, so many other activists or even politicians in KZN who've been killed closer to election time. People who are associated with local government.
Yeah, I think I'm also worried about just gun violence generally, because if I remember, there was recently a story just yesterday about that Ferrari, that red Ferrari. Two people as well also shot there in Soweto. I mean, it's just incredible just seeing how South Africa is turning into this assassination, you know, a hitman spot where, whether you're in KZN or in Gauteng or wherever you are in the country, it seems these things are happening. And because there aren't any arrests, perhaps that's why criminals know they can get away with it. Concerning.
Definitely. It is concerning. I mean, this is the second incident, the Ferrari one that you're talking about. There was another incident where a taxi driver apparently shot someone in a Ford Mustang in Soweto together with a partner. So it keeps happening over and over again.
Shocking.
But more shocking, the political killings and the police minister saying we know who these people are and we're going to go for them. I hope they do make arrests this week.
It has to happen.
Not in 3 months.
Yeah, this can't be like the looting situation where we know who the perpetrators are and it takes weeks and months before we get there. Because elections come the 1st of November, and this, I hope I'm wrong, but it's going to get worse as the tensions go up. And I also just thought, as we leave this first story on the headline in the Star newspaper, the minister also saying that they were not looking at factions, but would be investigating matters of crime. And I'm seeing a lot of people getting upset about that, but it's almost trying to treat what we're seeing now ahead of elections, Peter, as everyday crime, and it's not. This is a specific kind of criminal.
I want to get into the circus story, if I may. Eskom officials not welcome at our homes. The Soweto residents
not happy
are standing their ground here. I mean, sure.
They are. I mean, you know the story of Soweto and the billing crisis, the billions that are owed to Eskom. And now the residents are saying, you, Gareth, if you come in to inspect in my own yard, you're going to check our prepaid meters, you're not allowed in. And Eskom is actually saying, if you don't allow us inside, we're going to terminate your supply. So there's a huge battle that's coming up. And what's making it worse, it's the time that we're in. Politicians are going over to Soweto every day, promising to sort out their issues, and it's not happening. I think a week or two ago, we spoke after Ramaphosa went to Soweto. He said, nah, in a matter of days, your problems will be solved. It's close to 2 weeks now after his visit. Yeah, it's not a matter of days. It's not going to be solved now. It's billions that are owed to Eskom. And Eskom is saying, pay up. How are we going to guarantee supply to you when you're not paying for the services rendered?
Well, you can imagine how difficult it is for Eskom. I'm not taking sides. I've had load shedding like everybody else. But when they're already in the financial trouble they're in currently, and they're struggling to keep the lights on, when you're owed hundreds and hundreds of millions of rands, can you really blame them for turning off the power? But then you can also understand the Soweto residents saying, I don't owe 100,000 rand to Eskom. You got the bill wrong. Put my lights on. So are they going to get this right before elections? I don't care what political party you are. You're not going to fix this before elections. The Mercury, KZN, morning. Royal AM club scores city funding. This is such good news for football down there, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I don't understand the furor around this. Municipalities have done it before. You have Maritzburg City, they had funding from the municipality there. I don't understand what the big fuss.
I think we know why. I think it's because it's Mam Kize. You know, anything associated to her or Andy Limpi's son, I think somehow it just gets twisted into something that is either populist or something that is, you know, either attention-seeking. So I think that's what's getting the headline that it's getting right now.
There's three issues here. There's money that's allocated to the Sharks. There's money for Golden Arrows and Amazulu. Why are people not making an issue
noise about that?
I mean, I want to see football development. I want to see those youngsters who are playing in the DST, in the MDC, coming up to play in the PSL. This money will go towards development. I don't really necessarily think it's going to Mamkiza's pocket. Running a football club is expensive. Hence, you see her taking over Bloemfontein Celtic.
But what about the argument as well where I think it was the DA, in fact, actually the Mercury cites the DA saying the DA said that Royal AM was owned by businesswoman Sean Mkize, as we know, and therefore did not need investment from the city, rather use that money for other things. I mean, does it hold a bit of water?
Well, there are politicians that always find negative things to say.
So it's good for the club?
It's good for the club. It's good for development. It's good for football. It's good for the country.
All right, that's Citizen is where we need to head off to very quickly.
Yeah, keep calm and save Christmas. While there's talk about a move alert level 1 imminent there, the Health Department warning that failure to adhere to COVID-19 protocols could see a return to higher lockdown levels and a bleak festival season. Do you want that?
It's an appeal to everyone. When we go out partying over the weekends, let's not forget there's warnings from the Health Department, from analysts, from experts. The worst is not over. Some provinces may be exiting the
third wave.
But it's not really over. I mean, there were fears of a fourth wave come November.
So. If I may, this is where we always seem to get it wrong as a country. And then we go and analyse this afterwards. We get down to a lower lockdown level, and then everyone thinks it's an early Christmas. And then we're surprised again in 2-3 months' time when we get pushed back up to level 4 and level 5. We're below 100 in some provinces around the country since yesterday's numbers came out. We need to try and keep doing what we're doing. Here's the takeaway. Don't change what we've been doing. It's clearly working. Let's see if we can have a relatively free COVID Christmas. Let's just make that.
We're praying.
We're praying.
I hope so.
Yeah, we hope. And also, just before we say goodbye, Citizen, if you can zoom in on that picture of Thabo Mbeki. I don't know if the Citizen's trying to have Men Crush Wednesday on the former president. That headline, aging like good wine. Look at that. Our Man Crush Wednesday. All right.
What did you do? Man Crush Wednesday?
I mean, it's supposed to be on a Monday.
Is sitting right here.
I mean, it's the former president.
It is the former president.
I don't have grey hair.
My grey. No, that's what I'm trying to get to, because soon I'll be Tuvi's Man Crush Wednesday. But for now, it's going to have to be the former president.
We know where to go.
I'll concede. I'll acquiesce.
Riviera.
He doesn't seem to age. Peter Motloutsi, thank you very, very much for coming in to speak to us. If you come down again, bring some coffee. That'll be great. Thank you.
The universe is listening.
Right, let's get some work done instead. Read the story now. Heading over